What's up, Fungal Associates? Welcome to Completely Arbortrary's Tropical Vacation. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Alex Crowson. And of course, over there on the big green couch, we have Casey Clapp.
Hi there.
Hi, Casey.
How's it going?
I should say the big green hammock. I think I made that joke a couple joke. I'm putting in air quotes.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, there you have it.
I thought it was a funny joke.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I noticed you didn't laugh.
But that does mean I don't think it's funny.
My friend Alexander, one of the funniest people I know, made a hilarious joke, made a very clever joke the other day. And I couldn't even laugh at it because it was just too smart and clever.
Okay.
I was just like, dude, that was amazing.
Like, I'm dumbfounded over here.
Here's the joke, Casey.
Okay.
So I'm in a band with Alexander, our friend Isabeau, and she has a new song called Fake Cowboy. And we started kind of jokingly calling it Faux Cowboy, F-A-U-X, of course.
Yeah.
And then that turned into Pho Cowboy.
Okay.
And then we're talking about Pho Cowboy, and Alexander said, I mean, I've heard of spaghetti westerns, but this is just getting out of hand.
That is good. The Pho Cowboy. I like this.
Isn't that amazing?
That is a good one.
It's like the most clever thing I've ever heard anyone say in my life.
This is just getting out of hand. These are rice noodles now. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, speaking of food, Casey, we've got a fun one today.
We do. Okay, I put it together. I was like, we're eating something? Yes.
I'll say this episode is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Because today we're talking about asparagus.
Oh, Casey. The old bait and switch.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about banana tree.
We are. We're talking about bananas. But before we do, Alex, how much time is left on your ticker?
My heart?
No, sorry. Not
the
that.
doctor
Okay.
gave me 10 years. On my by the time this comes out, my fundraiser will be done.
No, everyone, you missed it.
Yeah. And we didn't meet our goal.
We know that now.
No, I don't. I think it'll be done, but we could certainly plug your book.
There we go. All right, so we'll plug something. We got something to plug.
Casey, before we move on, you've got a book coming out.
That's right, Alex. I do. It's almost out. We only have 3 more months now.
That's amazing.
But you can pre-order it.
1 term of college.
Yes, 1 term of college, 1/4 of the year.
That's great.
Yeah, so go buy that. Trees around you. Pre-order it anywhere you want to get your books. You can find it on my website. You can find it on anyone's website. It's everywhere.
CaseyClapp.com.
Yeah, which is getting rebooted right now. It's beautiful.
Wow. You should get one of those little under construction, like little dancing guys.
Just like a sign or a flagger kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll see if I can do that.
Nice. All right. Well, Casey, let's talk banana, but we got to do so after a break. We will be right back with the banana tree, so called, after this break, right here on Completely Arbortrary's Tropical Vacation. Welcome back to Completely Arbortrary Tropical Vacation.
Alex, are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine.
All right, he's good.
I had a cortado, so I'm buzzing.
Yeah. You haven't been drinking a lot of coffee recently.
No, been doing tea. Casey, let's imagine that you and I are walking through, let's say, Central America somewhere.
All right, yeah, that works. Yeah, we can do that.
Panama?
Yes, that's actually a great spot to start.
Fabulous. And we come across some banana trees. Let's ID this tree.
Let's ID this tree. Now, we're being a little cheeky here.
Yeah.
We're being a little cheeky here, and let's just take the veil right away.
Wow.
I wanted to cover this because it's the banana tree. So that makes it a tree.
This
is what I'm saying now. In fact, Alex, I need to share something with you I've thought about.
Oh my God.
Do you know the name of our podcast?
Completely Arbortrary.
Correct. What does the Arbortrary have to do with the show?
The fact that we, at the end of the episode, give a pointless, ultimately, rating to each tree we talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I have realized
You expanding this?
we are. I think it needs to be expanded because we've done so many episodes talking about like, is this a tree? Is this not a tree? What makes something a tree? And then at the end of the day, every time I describe, if someone says, "What's a tree?" How do you define a tree? I'm like, honestly, every definition is arbitrary. That's like, if it's an arborescent thing, it is a tree. It's
Yeah.
tree-like, it's a tree.
Yeah.
That's the circular kind of definition that I have come to hold in my heart.
I tree, therefore I am.
Exactly. Yes. That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I feel like our name of our show actually is just saying, what is a tree? There is no definition.
That's great.
So completely arbitrary is just our excuse to talk about anything, as long
Yeah.
as we can somehow probably have some person in the world be like, yeah, that's a tree.
We're tying it all around. I love this case.
Yeah. So this is why I thought that it would not be, I don't know, detrimental to our existence as a podcast for me to suggest we cover this tree.
I think that's great. This is an official announcement that we don't really give a shit about covering, biologically trees anymore.
We are changing our name to be completely arbitrary.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you.
I know it'll be hard to get used to.
It's going to be really hard, but like you can smell the nuance when you get close. You're like, okay, I see.
And it's got that like fake candy banana smell.
It does, yeah. Which, you know what? I heard a little rumor about, but we're going to move past that.
We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, we better.
Okay.
So the banana tree is an herb. It is an herbaceous plant.
Herb.
Yes.
Cool.
Now, here's a great question. What is an herb?
Well, I know herb is a culinary thing, of course.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's just like a little fresh green thing you put in dishes that
Exactly.
tastes really good.
Usually they have some kind of scent to them, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Some sort of strong, like noticeable flavor.
Yes,
Yeah.
precisely. Now, herbaceous in a botanical sense
Mm-hmm.
or a biological sense just means it has a green part, like a leaf or a stem, that is not woody. It just stays as like your kind of soft, I don't know, just green
Leafy
stem,
thing.
leafy stuff.
Yeah. A soft leaf. It's not like a leaf.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I guess I mean like a little parsley head
Okay, yeah.
is not like, I wouldn't call that like a leaf in the same way that
Okay,
you find
sure.
a leaf on like a, that plant next to you there.
Yeah, which they're all, they would all be in the same realm. Both of those I think would be considered herbaceous.
Okay.
So an herbaceous plant is just one that isn't woody.
Okay.
So it doesn't grow
Oh.
up to be a big tall shrub
I
or
see.
a tree. Yeah, you got it.
Cool.
So it's any one of those little plants that you see generally are anything that is an annual would be considered herbaceous.
Okay.
Most things that are biennials, which means they grow for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and anything that is an herbaceous perennial, which means it grows and then dies back and then grows again the next year.
What about like a dandelion?
A dandelion is an herb.
Okay.
Easy. Yeah.
Tulip.
Perfect.
Herb.
100%.
Wow. Okay.
It's an herbaceous plant, I should say.
Okay.
So herb, very much, I think that can stay in the culinary thing.
Sure.
But you can also say, look at these small herbs growing over here.
Hmm.
But 90% of the time, everyone thinks, that is relating to culinary stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Add the aceous to it, herbaceous. Now we're talking
Very
plants.
interesting. Okay, cool.
So
That's a fun new definition.
there you go. Yeah, sometimes you just don't think about it until you get into it. Just
Yeah.
like our plant that we're talking about today.
The banana tree is an herb.
The banana tree is an
an
herb.
herbaceous plant.
Exactly. There's no wood whatsoever in it.
Wow. No woody type material.
Not even close. In fact, I would argue that tomatoes become more woody than a
Sure.
banana.
Interesting.
But a banana, Alex, can grow to be like 30 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah. So it dwarfs many of the things that we have covered on this podcast that we have said, oh, this is a tree.
Well, let's describe it because I'm very curious how it does this.
Yes.
Physically.
Physically, man, it's turgor motherfucking pressure.
Oh, cool case.
So it is really just a small base that's called a corm. And that is not a corum, which is the kind of the inflorescence. So that's CORYM is a corum.
Okay.
That is how flowers produce, they come out, they're kind of flat top flower heads.
Yeah.
This is CORM.
Okay.
And it is essentially a kind of stem tissue that grows underground, kind of like a tuber or a bulb.
Okay.
But it grows underground. Technically, it's stem tissue, not root, not flower, not leaf. It is a stem that just stays underground like a big bulb.
Okay. Is this similar to like a monocot?
It is a monocot, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so they are in the monocot realm of the world.
Okay.
But this little thing, imagine it like a potato or a dahlia tuber, something like that, where it's just this like swollen, large, lumpy mass.
Sure.
From that will grow new leaves.
Garlic
and then
or
new
something.
Well, Garlic is a true bulb.
Oh, okay.
I had to look this up because I was very curious. I was like, what is a corm?
Yeah.
So a corm can be confused with a bulb. The difference being because a corm is a solid stem tissue, there are no layers in it. It's just like this big lumpy mass, like a potato.
Okay. Oh.
Versus garlic being a bulb, it's actually covered in modified leaves, and it is a multiple layered thing. So all of those layers are usually succulent. They're technically modified leaves that then get big and fill up with, whatever it is that you're doing.
So an onion would be a true bulb.
Yes.
Because it has layers.
Exactly.
Like an ogre.
Like an ogre, exactly.
Or a parfait.
Yes, precisely.
Okay.
Now, from those nodes pop out the leaves. Now, the leaves grow upwards, and then they have big paddle-shaped, long, pinnately veined lamina, which is the leaf blade.
Wow.
They're made up of the petiole and the lamina. So that's the two big parts. Everyone knows this. Every leaf has it. That leaf right there, those leaves over there, they all have these two main parts.
Okay.
The thing is, they are very curved at the base, almost to the point of being circular.
Wow.
And they grow up, and then a new leaf comes from the inside of that circular section and grows up a little taller.
Kind of under the leaf.
Exactly,
under the previous leaf.
Exactly. So imagine you have a leaf that grows and is very spirally arranged on this very tiny shoot. So the first leaf comes up, and then you spiral around a little bit, and the next leaf comes up. But because the first leaf is almost circular at the base, it appears like it's growing from the inside of the stem.
Wow.
When really, it's just kind of connected around in a circle. It's not actually coming through the middle of that individual petiole.
Okay.
And then imagine that happens over and over and over and over. And as new ones grow, the outer ones expand and they have to kind of open themselves up. So then they look more like they are sheaths along the base, but multiple sheaths all smashed together as these new leaves come up.
Odd.
It's very odd. And it grows like that, very tightly together with new leaves coming up. It gets taller and taller and taller and taller.
Wow.
And it creates what's called a pseudostem.
Pseudostem.
Exactly.
Cool.
False stem. Because there is no stem.
Yeah.
The stem is that smashed little corm in the ground.
It's all leaves.
Yes, that is the technical stem, and everything else above ground are all leaves that are tightly packed together at the base, filled with water, and have these big, huge, thick cells. Well, not really cells in the traditional biological sense, but cells in terms of like square compartments.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you cut one of these leaves, you can see it really clearly.
Wow.
And they are just filled to the brim with water. They have large, good structure, especially when they have high water pressure, and then they just build themselves straight up.
So the flower and the fruit, which we'll talk about next, grow out of the leaves.
They do. They grow out of the center of this pseudostem.
Wild.
Yeah. And if they get 30 feet tall, 20 feet tall, which they do, they just sends up this really long shoot at the very end when it like reaches its mature height, so to speak. It just cruises up, goes all the way up, and then the stem comes out, which is technically a peduncle, comes out and curves over. As it comes out and curves over, it has this big, like, it looks like a snake head or like a magnolia blossom, but not the blossom, I suppose, actually the bud. And if you've ever seen a banana, even if it's growing in the temperate regions and it's just one that's going to die back and come back, so we have them here in Oregon actually all over the place.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of bananas that we have planted around.
Okay.
But it's not hot and warm enough for them to produce the actual big fruit. They'll produce little fruit, but nothing really substantial.
Okay.
So this long thing comes out and it has this big bud on the tip that looks like this big, honestly, have you seen, what is that movie? Or it's a play rather. Oh my God. There's a plant in the movie. It's a Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, sure.
And it has this plant that like has this thing like the Mario plant that's like, it is
the piranha plant.
Exactly. It'll like reach over and eat you kind of thing.
What is its name? Audrey 2. Audrey 2.
Okay. That's amazing.
Wow.
So it looks like that, like this perfect, like upside down teardrop shaped like thing.
Yeah.
That is actually a bunch of bracts covering over the individual flowers, of which there are dozens.
Wow.
As this little snaky bit comes out and grows, on the further down the side, so as it comes out and arcs away, the place that's closest to the leaves, where it kind of emerges from the pseudostem, that is where the seed flowers are, so the female flowers. At the tip, where there's that kind of bulbous head, that is where the male or pollen flowers are.
Wow. This is so strange.
It's really, really weird.
Another visual you might appreciate is that if you imagine like a lion's tail.
Yes, yeah.
It has like that bush of hair
puff.
at the back, at the end of it rather.
Yeah, how do we describe these things?
Yeah, it is extremely strange looking.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
Right? Now, so here's the next part that threw me off for a second, is that as it bends over, all of the flowers that are on the kind of upper side, so the seed flowers, those are the ones that will turn themselves into the fruit, which is a banana. That fruit, all those individual flowers are angled up, so they are negatively geotropic, which means they feel gravity and grow away from it.
Oh, sure.
That.
Oh, what is the gravitropic?
Gravitropism. You got it right.
Gravitropism.
Yeah, I was like, Alex, just keep saying it. Not grav.
Oh.
As in gravity.
I'm stupid. Duh.
Alex, don't do that. Jeez.
I was really making fun of you for thinking I was getting it wrong. I was purposefully saying grabotropic.
So this is a meta joke?
Yeah, a bit.
Man, I'm an idiot.
Welcome to the future.
I'm so stupid. So, Alex, like we said, the flowers, they grow up, right? Each one of those individual flowers on that long stem that's growing up, the seed flowers that's further back,
I see.
Those will become a fruit. Like I said, the banana.
Yeah.
Now, there's 83 some species of different bananas.
Wow.
We only actually eat the fruit of a few of them, but there's hundreds of varieties across the world. The banana that we see, and banana that used to be most popular in Europe and North America, was a banana that grew these huge, long, yellow bananas that grew from this stem, but they all aim upwards because that's how they initially start to grow. Wow. So, Alex, there are bananas right over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see those little guys?
I've never seen one in real life.
Yeah, there's a real banana right there.
Cool.
Yeah, you only see them on the sides of ships advertising, go to Guatemala.
Yes, and in Donkey Kong, of course.
And in Donkey Kong. Yeah. So I didn't even know they actually existed until just this morning.
That's cool.
But here they are. Those bananas, you usually find them hanging downwards. Like you put them on a hook or something. You remember that? Like your little banana hook, or you see them at like the grocery store. And there's a little stem where they're all connected and they lie downwards.
Yes.
So the flattened bit that's at the opposite side of the stem where they're connected, that was where the flower was.
Wow. Yes.
The stems that they're connected to is where they're connected to the main long stem.
This is like apple, right? That kind of has the embryo, the embryon. That's a Pokemon. The embryon growing through the middle of it. And the fruit kind of grows around that part.
Yes. Okay. You're thinking the ovary.
Edit.
Yeah. Get that done. Oh, Alex, you mean the ovary, right? Yeah.
The embryon.
I like that. I think that's a good name.
Thanks.
But it's a Pokemon. It doesn't count.
I know.
So the actual banana itself is a fruit in every definition. But the thing that threw me off is the ones that we see now are 100% the same kind of banana. And I say this being in North America, in the United States, we all get literally the same kind. It's a Cavendish banana.
Cavendish.
Cavendish.
That is the commercial banana.
Yes, that is the commercial cultivar banana.
Okay, Cavendish.
Yes, that is the most popular by every degree banana that we get in Europe and North America.
Cool.
This one and every other banana technically grows pointing upwards,
right.
Like fingers coming up away.
Yeah.
So that little bit at the bottom that is like the flattened kind of nub of the banana, that is in fact where the flower used to be angled straight upwards. So when you see it at a grocery store curved down with the actual like the stems where they're all connected at the top, that's backwards.
It's unnatural.
Exactly. It should be flipped over.
That is very cool, Casey.
Yeah, who would have thought?
I've always pictured bananas growing kind of hanging down like that.
Yes, me too.
Very interesting.
But if you go look up some of these big, like, huge, I mean, they weigh like upwards of 100 pounds, these like big, giant banana, like, I don't know, it's in fructescence at this point.
This was my next question.
Yeah.
What is that singular banana that you eat in the morning on the way to work? A fruit, a whole fruit?
Yes,
or
nothing
is it
but
like
a fruit.
Congregate or whatever?
It is one single fruit.
Okay, so this thing grows just a ton of fruits.
Exactly. So the whole thing together is an infructescence.
Infructescence.
The big stem that comes up that produces the flowers is an inflorescence. It is a weird thing.
Very cool.
Very strange looking. It comes out, it puts all of its fruit out, and then the whole plant dies.
Wow.
And then it grows up little new ones offshoot.
Like a salmon.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Or an agave. Something like that, where when it flowers and produces its fruit, kicks the bucket.
One time.
Yeah,
because it's an herb.
Exactly. This is technically an herbaceous, not even perennial plant.
Yeah.
But you would round it up to perennial because often that corum sends out little shoots that become new bananas. So it essentially will reestablish itself in the same area by sending up new little clonal shoots.
Okay, so it's what is that called? I guess clonal reproduction.
Exactly, vegetative reproduction.
Vegetative reproduction.
Exactly.
So it dies away, but it doesn't die.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Most of the time.
The corm survives.
The corum survives, or at least the
Corm.
corum. Sorry, I'm just saying it normally, and sometimes it might sound more corum. The other times it's a little bit more.
So in your mind, you were saying corm.
Yes,
like corn.
Exactly, corn with an M, as in Mancy.
Cornum. A corn with an N.
Is-
Nacorm.
Nicorm.
Oh, at the end. I see.
Yes, at the end.
I did it again.
You did it again. Now who's the idiot now?
Me.
So yeah, they will reproduce themselves with this new little offshoot that will grow into a new grouping of new bananas.
That's extremely cool.
But also, it will do it by seed.
Okay, so you can plant a banana.
You can plant a banana seed.
Or the fruit. I mean, the seed's in the fruit. I'm assuming. And it will grow a banana plant.
That's a theory.
Tree.
Yeah. Whatever.
I will say, I adore the look of this whole thing, the infructescence and the fluorescence.
Yeah, you like that.
Fluorescence?
Inflorescence.
Inflorescence.
Yes, that's the flower. Infructescence is the fruiting body afterwards.
Got it. The whole thing looks like some sort of like sci-fi weapon.
It does.
It's amazing.
Weird.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And they're huge. Like, that gives you an idea of how strong this pseudostem is, because it can hold up something that takes 2 humans to lift half the time.
It looks like it's probably like 4 or 5 feet long.
Yeah. Oh, easily.
This tip. So the fruit only grows out of that tip once the plant is done growing to the top.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
Exactly.
Wow.
So the fruit comes out and kind of hangs over.
Yeah.
But then that's it. But things used to eat all this fruit. They used to just eat a whole big pile of them. And it used to be that every banana was filled with dozens of seeds.
Wow.
Dozens of seeds.
And are these seeds, the Haversham? Haversham?
No, the Cavendish.
The Cavendish.
I love when you come up with that.
Well, I think Haversham is like a character from a British sitcom. Mrs. Haversham.
Hello, Mrs. Havisham.
The Cavendish banana, I'm assuming, has been bred to not have seeds.
Exactly.
Although they kind of have those like infertile seed coating things.
Totally. Yeah. They got those little guys.
Yeah.
But instead
like
of
a seedless
having
watermelon or something.
Yes, precisely. In fact, they're all the same thing. They all are developed by parthenocarpy, which apparently is just now the theme also for this little summer vacation.
Wow.
Because everything we've talked about, I think 3 of the last 4 species have all done some amount of parthenocarpy where they produce the fruit even though there's no viable seed inside of it.
Yeah, interesting.
So that is what's happening here. It's a genetic mutation. But the history that goes back with these is really fascinating because the Cavendish banana, the one that's sitting right over there, that is a banana that only started getting developed in, I don't know, the last 80 years or so.
Really?
Yeah. Before that, there was a completely different banana called the Gros Michel or the Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Yes, I think technically it should be Fat Mike.
I do not want to know why they call it that.
Well, all right, that's fair.
The guy knew a guy named Mike with a big old schlong.
And he's like, now I'm going to name this banana after you because it's yellow too. No, this was a particular banana.
Jesus Christ. He was a Simpson.
Well, I didn't tell you the other part about it. Is that most bananas, historically speaking, up until very recently, and I mean like in the last 200 years.
Green.
No, they were pinks and purples and like reds and all these other different colors.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's like even one that's called a blue banana, blue something.
Wow.
And it apparently tastes like ice cream. Yeah. You gotta look it up. I saw this great video and I was like, what?
Blue Java banana.
The blue Java banana.
Wow.
Aren't they just insane?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, apparently they taste like ice cream. They're delicious.
Gorgeous shade of blue.
Yeah, but you're right. They were like reds, they were greens, oranges, all these different shades.
Wow.
But then this one guy ended up importing some onto Jamaica. And he found one that had a weird mutation that created a yellow banana.
Amazing.
And then he started to grow that. But he, of course, his name is Jean-Francois Pujol, and he was a plantation owner in Jamaica in the 1800s. So certainly using slave labor and all the horrible things you can imagine that happened in the Caribbean islands.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the theme to everything about bananas that I learned.
Yeah.
Bananas are probably worse than chocolate in a lot of ways, which is stunning.
And sugar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All the tropical fruits that caused like literal wars and revolutions, bananas reign supreme.
That's incredible.
So this guy brought in these bananas, put them on his plantations, found this one variety that was very large. It had yellow skin on the outside, which is different, so it kind of probably stood out to him. Oh. It has thick skin, so that you could take it, the entire like inflorescence, it would be this huge like several pounds. I don't know. No, I shouldn't say several.
20 pounds.
20 pounds, 30 pounds? I think it's like way more than that, like upwards of 80 pounds.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Giant things of bananas.
Yeah.
Then they would take those and ship them all over the world because they had thick skin so the fruit wouldn't bruise very much. You could pick it early enough and let it ripen along the way. And that actually, they release a lot of ethylene.
I was going to bring this up.
You were? Oh my gosh. What are we going to talk about?
Well, I last week, I made a grocery order. And you never know. It's always a crapshoot with like getting fruit from a grocery order because this shopper doesn't give a shit. So they just grab whatever.
Yeah, totally.
They're not looking for the ripest fruit.
Yeah.
So I got like 8 or 9 very green mangoes.
Nice.
An old trick I learned from New Seasons when I worked at New Seasons was to put mangoes or anything. Avocados is a great example.
I don't think I knew you worked at New Seasons.
It's true, in the deli. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I can.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I mean, you'd be great because you're like a foodie and you'd be like, oh yeah, you want something good? Here, try this.
I just didn't care to excel at that job.
Yeah.
But I put the mangoes in a brown paper bag with a couple of bananas, and 2 days later, they were all perfect.
Yes.
And I enjoyed them.
Oh man.
Fuck out of them.
I'm so happy to hear this.
Yeah, bananas release a ton of that ripening enzyme.
Exactly. It's actually the only gaseous plant hormone. It's ethylene.
Yes, ethylene.
And it's released from them into the bag, and then every other fruit, and most fruits, most plants, they all have that same mechanism where when you get ethylene, they then start to ripen. That's their clue to go.
So all fruits give off ethylene, but bananas are just really good at it?
Yeah, I think certain ones give off a little bit more.
Okay.
And yes, I believe bananas are one of the top best ones for that.
That's awesome.
And that's why, of course, you let bananas sit next to each other for a long time.
Oh, boy.
They will all go bad really quickly. It's because they are doing the same.
Within days.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is when you get a bunch of bananas, break them off one by one and put them in different places in your home.
Yes, yeah. Keep them safe from each other.
Yeah. So you're surprised when you open your medicine cabinet.
Yeah,
and
well
have a banana.
ventilated as well. Yeah, that's they do this for all sorts of things. Tomatoes, they do it for tomatoes as well. They pick them green, and then in the truck while they're driving them over, or in the storage facility, they just inundate it with ethylene, and then that goes zoop, and makes them all turn beautiful bright red, but it doesn't do anything about their sugar, so they still taste like shit.
Oh, okay, yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
I mean these mangoes were really good and sweet, but I always thought that once you pick a fruit off of a tree, it kind of like stops getting stuff from the tree, like it stops developing essentially.
Totally, exactly.
And if you ripen it like a shit Roma tomato, in the middle of winter, it's going to taste like nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It needs the sugars and it needs to continue to develop from the things that it's getting from the plant itself.
So on the vine tomatoes, like that's a big marketing thing on the vine. Does that make sense? Because the vine should be connected to the plant, and the plant is supplying.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
It's a marketing thing.
It is just a marketing thing.
Wow.
They taste just as bad as all the rest.
Are there some sugars? I mean, there's got to be something good in the vine that they attach it to.
Yeah, but they essentially die because they're not getting the water and nutrients and things that they need.
Yeah.
So even if you clip them off on the vine, they stop doing the normal metabolizing.
Sure.
So you just have kind of these inert fruit. You add ethylene, they will turn the right colors.
Oh my gosh.
But if there's just not all of the developed starches and things to continue on, then it doesn't work.
Wild. So ethylene can be reproduced like in a lab and just like pumped into things.
Yeah, it's a naturally occurring plant hormone, but we can make it anytime we want.
I wonder how.
I don't know. Yeah, we do that with a lot of different artificial chemicals and things.
Some chemical compound.
Yeah, aspirin's a great example. We found it,
sure.
we identified it, and then we figured out how to make it ourselves.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so with bananas, they have enough starches inside the banana, like the flesh already. As soon as you add in the ethylene, they can switch themselves into sugars, and like that process can work still.
Yes.
But if there's not already that stuff ready to go, then it just changes the color, but it doesn't always make it taste tasty.
That's interesting, Casey. And a banana, I feel like, has a really high ratio of like when you eat it unripe. Yeah. It's like extremely sticky.
Yeah.
And slimy and dries out your mouth.
Exactly. Yeah. It's what is that? It's there's a certain thing that I can't think of, but yes, it dries it out. Astringent. It's very astringent.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then when they're ripe, there's like this perfect little window, right? And then they become brown, but they're so sweet and gummy and soft.
It's pretty good.
Do you prefer, if you're going to have a not perfectly ripe banana, do you prefer to eat a little green or a little ripe?
A little ripe.
Okay. See, I'm on the opposite side. I like green. They also have more fiber, like insoluble fiber when they're raw. Or raw.
I was gonna say, okay.
Uncooked. Unripe.
Ugh, Alex.
They also have more soluble fiber when they're less ripe.
Oh. That was good.
Little fun fact for you.
It's a little fun fact. They do, and I'm not surprised because that means essentially all the starches have stayed together
and rather than turned
into sugar.
Exactly. Wow, cool. Okay.
Now, here's another thing, Alex. Did you know that every one of those Gros Michel is a clone? Just the same as every Cavendish is a clone.
Wow.
They're all the same exact species. Cultivar, everything, clones of each other.
Okay.
So every banana you've had in your life from the United States has been almost 100% surely the same banana you've ever had your entire life.
Crazy.
Your parents, your grandparents had a different banana. They had the Gros Michel. We have Cavendish because Gros Michel, being the same kind of perfect clone, planted literally all over the entire planet, ended up getting a disease that killed them all off.
Oh my God.
It was called Panama disease. Is called Panama disease, I should say. Fusarium oxysporum.
Okay.
Yeah. Killed off all the plants. It basically makes the stalks rot, so they can't hold themselves up. They fall over and die.
And because they're clonal, if you kill them all, you can't make more copies.
Exactly. And they're also seedless, so you can't just be like, well, we're going to take these seeds and we're going to turn them into a new plant.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we've engineered the perfect plant with the like quintessential Achilles heel.
Yes.
You know?
I was just going to say, yeah.
It will just 100% die. And we're worried about it with the Cavendish because there is a new variety, or I guess it's a new form, a new mutation of this Fusarium disease that's now attacking Cavendish.
Wow. No more bananas.
No more bananas. But that's the thing. We are only talking about the, quote, dessert bananas. What about plantains?
Oh, sure.
Plantains are also bananas.
Yeah.
They're the same exact thing in every possible way, except it's kind of like a different, well, most of them are from this species. There's also another hybrid species that you can get pretty often. There's two species. Right now, we're talking about Musa acuminata. That's the main one. Yeah, that's the Cavendish.
Okay.
But there is also another one that is very similar. They grow and are planted kind of in different places in the world, but they're both common. We always get the ones from acuminata. Those generally are created in the Cavendish, and then other species are elsewhere in the world. Like I said, 83 different species.
Wow. They
will grow in so many different ways in the tropics.
Are these 83 different species that are commercially eaten?
No, there's 80. This is just in nature.
Period.
There are 83 different species.
And there's like a handful that are commercially reproduced and eaten.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk plantains.
Yes.
Do you like plantains?
I do like plantains.
Okay. What's your favorite preparation?
Ooh, let's see. I've had them fried, and I really like fried plantains, where they're like a little crunchy.
Yeah. Almost like squashed into a little pancake.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, no, you just like cut up it's a banana, but you just cut it up very gently or very small, like chips, and then you kind of fry those.
Oh, sure. Like plantain chips.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
I also enjoy a plantain chip. I also enjoy like kind of a pan-fried little plantain pancake. I forget what they're called. I think you just literally just slice a kind of a bigger, like maybe 2-inch length of plantain.
Yeah.
Smash it under like a drinking glass or something.
Yeah.
And then fry that in oil.
I love this idea.
They're really good because they're a little tender on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
but
there you go.
Crispy on the outside.
Well, this sounds delicious.
But I don't know. Do people eat plantains raw?
I think that, no, probably.
Somewhat unpalatable, potentially.
I think that they usually will prepare them in some way.
Yeah.
But yes, plantains are generally this other species, which is Musa balbisiana.
Both Musa, and Musa is the banana genus.
That is the genus for bananas.
Okay, interesting.
One of 3 genera in Musaceae.
Oh.
There you go.
It reminds me of mucus, and I don't like that.
And I don't like that.
Now, Casey, let's talk about the natural flavor in the room.
Let's.
So there is a banana flavor that appears in banana candies.
Yes.
I'm talking runts. I'm talking, I don't know, Mambas probably have a banana
I'm talking
flavor.
runts. I'm talking to you, Casey, about runts. Runts is the only one I ever think of.
I know. Are those even called runts? Runts are like the little kind of like lumpy ones. I'm talking about like the little banana shaped.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are runts?
They're still runts. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's talk about those because that flavor, this is the mythology at least.
Yeah.
Is that flavor is actually based on the flavor of an older species of banana that we don't eat anymore.
Gros Michel.
Is it really?
I believe so.
What a great little tie of the bow.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
That's really cool.
I have heard that, but I have also heard that they're like, no, we did not actually develop this flavor based on some particular cultivar or variety.
Okay.
But they would base it on probably whatever happened to be around when they first made it.
It tastes more than artificial strawberry or cherry is the other big one that I think of. Or any other artificial like fruit flavor. Banana tastes the most artificial to me. It tastes the most like a chemical.
It does. It tastes weird.
And it's revolting to me personally.
You don't like it. I have to say.
hate that flavor.
I think that this is the thing, is that there is a group of people. There are 2 kinds of people in this world, Alex. One loves the fake banana flavor of a runt style candy. The other hates it beyond measure.
And I wonder if those also divide in people who love like cherry robitussin and then real cherries.
Yep. And then some of those, well, you could probably also have those. And then those are Christians and heathens. And that's how you all put those things together. It all comes together.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just another example of how bananas are a very complex player in the socio-political spheres of the world.
The devil's fruit.
It's the devil's fruit.
Just look at it.
Oh my God.
To censor that thing.
Yeah, that's a Gros Michel, let me tell you.
That's a big mic.
That's a big mic. Yeah. So this is the thing that I kind of think is really fascinating about bananas. You and I have covered a few different...
What an interesting podcast.
Yeah. Now, here, let me just tell you what's fascinating about bananas. And hopefully everyone's like, yeah, tell me. Bananas are like the just post-colonial nutmeg. That's the best way I think I can put it.
The fruit that destroyed an entire people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The tree that then caused giant socio-political upheavals in the world and all the other spices in the South Pacific.
A capitalist revolution.
It's exactly what this is. And on top of that, all of the native bananas are originally from this same area, from like the tropics of the Pacific Islands, from the very, very southern extent of India, all the way across through Southeast Asia, down into Australia.
Okay.
That is where bananas are native to.
Okay.
And as a quick side note, they were probably cultivated by humans earlier than almost everything else.
Really?
Yes. We covered the Ficus carica, the common fig.
Yeah.
And that is believed to be the oldest possible evidence of humans taking something and purposefully cultivating it, because it is a parthenogenic fruit. It will create its fruit without any seeds in it, without anything like that. So you have to actually have someone take care of it, or else it's not creating any seeds. So that gene will die off in one generation. So same thing with bananas. It must have been somehow cultivated so that people could continue to make this same kind of banana that has no seeds in it, or very few seeds.
Interesting. Do we have a date?
Yes, 10,000 years ago.
Wow.
8,000 BC.
Oh my God.
Potentially before rice was cultivated.
Wild.
It is the fourth to this day, Alex. It is the fourth most major fruit, or any food across the world, behind wheat, milk, and rice.
I buy it.
Yeah.
At the grocery store.
It is that common.
That's
$140 billion industry.
Say that number again.
$140 billion industry.
Billion with a B.
Bananas.
Billion with a B, as in bananas.
Yeah.
Incredible. Wow.
Yeah. So all that is today and way back then. In the meantime, it got transitioned over like the Silk Roads, and it went up into China. It went over into Africa so long ago that it's essentially created a new center of diversity in Africa, where it never technically grew before 10 or 15,000 years ago.
But is essentially native.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So once you move it over there and it is growing there for, I don't know, 10,000 years, you got to be like, okay, this is pretty native. This seems reasonable.
Sure.
So the center of diversity is Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Then they moved over across the tropics in certainly Africa and the Asian Pacific Islands. Then it started to get moved across the rest of the world when people realized, wow, this is a pretty sweet thing. It's got all the nutrition things you could ever want. It's easy to grow. It's an early succession species, so you can plant it. As long as, I believe I read, there's 2 feet of soil, it will grow.
That's all it needs.
That's all it needs.
Wow.
Just 2 feet of reasonable soil, and boop, there you go. You got bananas.
Shit.
So it started to be shown off to the world when the real intense amount of capitalism and colonialism started to get going.
Okay.
But it didn't really take off until, like, I don't know, the 1800s or so, mid-1800s, at which point it was introduced to the United States and Europe, and people were like, that sounds great. Eat your bananas.
Yeah.
Started then this process of like post-colonial colonialism, like I said, where instead of new places filled with indigenous people that we're going to go take over, this was like South America, where there already had been colonized. Many of these places had already thrown off the yoke and said, no, we are our own thing now.
Yeah.
And then between the late 1800s and the early mid 1900s, there has been dozens of incursions from the United States, from Spain, from all these other countries going down and causing havoc in South American countries. Well, it's where we get the term.
And Caribbean countries?
Yes, both of them. Banana Republic.
Banana Republic.
Do you know what that means, what it actually refers to?
I know that it's a clothing brand.
Yes. Okay. You can find it at Bridgeport Plaza. Yes. Very true.
You can, Casey. That is so funny because that is the exact location I was thinking of.
It is very much a silly place.
Yeah.
I never have thought to myself, Banana Republic, you have nice clothes.
Yeah, I think they're like, for the Margaritaville in all of us.
Yes. Yeah, which we all have.
So a Banana Republic.
Yeah.
Can I maybe take a stab at what it means politically?
That. Yeah.
A country with a resource, specifically in South America or the Caribbean, Central America, that a colonizing country like essentially attacks under the guise of whatever to get access to that resource.
Yeah,
becomes like a banana republic, and maybe the politicians in that country are like, hey, we're making a shit ton of money off of this slave labor. Go ahead. We're a banana republic now.
Yeah. Okay. You know what?
Put it on our flag. Why not?
Just do it, man.
Yeah.
You are not far off. I think you got the gist of it.
That's my guess.
But the reason that it's specific to bananas is that companies like United Fruit, Chiquitas, and those big ones, Dole, exactly. They would go down once they realized, wow, we can sell this like no one's business. People are buying it. All we need to do is grow it. And they started the classic, like, American corporation idea of getting everything in your chain of resources under your control.
Yes. What is that called?
Vertical.
Is it vertical integration?
That's exactly it, Alex. Well done. Very well said.
Thanks.
So they essentially, this happened in all the monopolies in the early 1900s in the United States.
It was a big thing in Hollywood case.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
They're controlling the film, the film production, as in the physical film that you put in the camera.
Yes.
All the equipment.
Totally.
Their employees making the film. Their artists making, acting in the film.
Yeah.
They reproduce the film. They have a theater where you go see the film.
Yes.
It was like a huge problem.
Yeah. It
happened
happened
with
with
those blocks.
Yes, exactly. It's like the classic robber baron idea.
Totally.
Where they would own everything from the land to the processing facilities, and then they would sell it to you. So no one was able to come in and say, hey, I'm gonna like raise my price here and affect your price later down the line. They owned it from top to bottom.
Wild.
So this happened in South America, where these companies would come down and they would essentially invade these small other nations.
Wow, the company would invade the nation.
Would invade. The company. They would buy out local small landowners. They would turn every bit of the rainforest and all this area into a giant banana plantation.
Wow.
And they would, at some point, even like pit different ethnic groups against each other, from people who came in from across the world to slaves to indigenous people to anyone who was working, quote, working for them. They would pay them horrifically. And if one started to get a little bit above their britches, they would do something to encourage the other to fight. So they give some incentive to like knock them down. So it was very much like controlled by these white European overlords or North American overlords that then would say, you guys like work for us and pick bananas. And
essentially slave labor.
It's essentially slave labor. In many instances, it very much was slave labor. Yeah. And it was so profitable that some of these companies had their own fleets of ships. They were moving things backwards and forwards. They had more ships, this private company, to move fucking bananas.
Wow.
Than whole nations had navies.
Oh my God.
They ended up creating this advertising scheme that is called the Great White Fleet.
Great White Fleet.
The Great White Fleet. This is the United Fruit Company's fleet. And they had their own ships that would go from North American and European ports. And they would take people down to the tropics, to their beautiful tropical banana plantations. Everyone on board was encouraged to wear white. Every sailor was wearing a white uniform. The ships themselves were completely white. And none of this is really a very intensely veiled, everyone on board was also Caucasian.
Sure.
So it was very much a situation of, look at our big, beautiful white fleet of ships with white people on it. Come down to this beautiful tropical vacation. Let's have a safari. And they would take these people on.
Wow.
They would show them this like very controlled, beautiful looking like resort style section of their plantation.
Like a tourist in North Korea or something.
Exactly. As soon as you go outside that little realm, you'd be like, this is a horrific situation. Yeah. But no one ever cared. No one ever went out. And they would just sell them all these different cruises, show them how good it is. People would buy bananas and then they would leave.
That's sickening.
So this is all done by this like United Fruits, these giant companies. This is the biggest, worst one so far.
Okay.
And they would also foment political just havoc because the people would go to their politicians and say, we're getting completely destroyed by slave labor, horrible conditions, everything sucks. We're going to unionize. Then the
Dole's not having that.
They're not having that, dude.
No.
You know exactly what happens next.
Of course.
This is like all the famous incursions of the United States in the 30s and 40s and 50s in South America when there was all these like communist rebellions in South America. But it really wasn't communism. It was people trying to unionize so that they weren't completely taken advantage of. And then the United States government would come in and overthrow the small South American government so that the corporation that is going to lose out doesn't have to lose out. And then they install a puppet on the as a president or whatever. Then that is when it becomes a banana republic because it is being run by a very particular set of exports. And it's in a country that's kind of politically unstable. And really, who's managing everything? It's the company.
It's like a Dole spokesperson as president.
Yes, kind of like that. But like it's even like behind that. The Dole spokesperson is the what's it dude behind the king? Who am I thinking in Lord of the Rings?
Wormtongue?
Wormtongue, yes, they're Wormtongue.
Sure, okay, yeah.
Exactly.
So the president might be like a national.
Yes.
But they're being bought and sold by Dole.
Exactly. Or the United States government, where the United States government says, we're going to put you into power. You're in power, and we're going to make you legitimate. Whatever United Fruit asks you to do, you will do.
This is horrific.
Yeah. I have not actually eaten bananas.
I literally feel ill.
It's awful, dude.
That's disgusting.
It's crazy. I learned about this years ago from one of my ex-girlfriends, Hannah. She didn't eat bananas. She lived down in Ecuador for some years.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I also have not bought bananas.
Wow.
Maybe every now and then. Well, see, I bought these. We bought these for today because they are tasty, and these are also organically grown in Mexico.
Okay.
And so the place that we bought them checks into these kinds of things.
Good,
so
yeah.
I am
Wow.
fairly positive these are not slave labor bananas.
Oh, yeah, we're pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. That's one of the most horrific things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And it happened in Guatemala, in Colombia, all over the place. El Salvador.
Amazing.
Like, anything that had to do with all of the famous like incursions of all the communist South American thises and that's.
Yeah.
That is all very likely, way back then, boiling down to bananas. Bananas being such a huge commodity fruit has caused that much turmoil.
That's a hard hitter for sure. I mean, like you said, coffee, chocolate, nutmeg. I mean, wow.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're like, wait a second, bananas cause this? And like everyone knows this. We all know the term banana republic.
Yeah.
We're all very familiar with like the idea of bananas being this tropical thing. You see a banana, your mind is like tropical for sure. Donkey Kong.
So now I'm wondering like, why the fuck would you name your clothing company?
Right?
After that.
I cannot fathom that.
Slave labor plantation clothing.
Wow.
Exciting. Tropical. Ooh.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
That's fucking wild.
It is. I mean, you just
God,
Google.
I'm disgusted.
You Google the definition. Let's see. It says, a small nation, especially in Central America, dependent on one crop or the influx of foreign capital.
Right. Okay. So it could be the Dominican Republic and sugar.
Yes.
It's like a banana republic.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But it also has definitely something to do with the control of all of this.
Yeah.
And the money that's moving back and forth.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know why you would do that.
I'm assuming the same thing happened in Hawaii post colonization.
Yeah, but that was with Dole and the pineapple.
Pineapples.
Yeah, so it certainly did.
You know, I'm going to Hawaii in August.
That's right.
And my sister is all about like activities. Let's schedule all these activities. One of those things is a tour of the Dole plantation.
I've done it myself.
And I was like, you could not pay me to go look at that shit.
Yeah.
What a horrific, it's like going to Auschwitz or something. Like what a horrific excursion.
Yeah, and you got to know it is also like a very curated experience.
Sure.
So like you're going to go and it's going to be fine. They're like, yeah, here's where we grow all this.
Yeah.
But you're not going to go into all the back areas where you have immigrant labor working for no money at all, digging all of these ground pineapples.
Horrific.
Yeah, and I don't know that. I have not done any research on Dole.
I hope
this
that
regard.
it's changed in the last 50 years.
It's at least the United States of America, so you got to think there's going to be some amount of minimum wage.
I know.
But at the same time, that is just one small island chain of many where we grow this fruit. We being people across the world.
You ever see that you ever take that Tillamook cheese factory tour?
Yeah.
Those are all actors.
They're all actors just moving things around.
They're animatronic cheese workers.
They're just like the presidents and the kids in Disneyland.
Yes, exactly.
Dang it.
The hall of dairy farmers.
Yes, whoever they are, poor people.
All right, well
there you go.
That's horrific and awful. But we have to give a review to the banana, I guess, and we'll do this after a quick break. We'll be right back with Tropical Vacation. Welcome back to Tropical Vacation. Casey, it's time to give a rating to the banana. And here's how it works. We're going to give some final thoughts on this wonderful fruit and give it a rating of 0 to 10 golden palm fronds of honor. You know, the new Nintendo Switch is now out and about.
Okay.
Switch 2.
Never heard of it.
It's like Nintendo's new console.
Uh-huh.
And one of their big flagship games that's coming out in a month or so is the new Donkey Kong game. Oh. By the way, it looks fucking incredible. I was so underwhelmed on the first teaser, and then they just released this big showcase.
Okay.
And I got so hyped. Not that I have a Nintendo Switch 2, but it might convince me. And there are golden bananas.
Of course there are.
It's like the thing, like in Mario when you collect stars.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong collects golden bananas. So I think maybe just for this episode, for me, please, we should give these DK golden bananas of honor.
Okay, that works for me.
All right, Casey, as our resident expert, we'll begin with you.
Okay, it sounds good. I have handed you, everyone in this room has their own banana.
Yep.
Now, I think bananas are great. I think that I need to give them some praise for being the tallest herb in the world, according to at least one stat that I'm like, that's a dumb stat because it's like, you could change that. You could probably find a way, find something you could call an herb that's tall, but this one is clear and obvious, so I will give it to it. So I think it's pretty cool. I think I can go with tallest herb in the world.
Cool.
I think it's pretty good. And you know what? If you're the tallest herb in the world, I think at least, at the minimum, you get honorary tree status.
Oh,
even though you don't have though you don't have a lick of lignin in you. Fine with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is like that, in Mexico, there's this, I forget what the phrase is, but like Mexicans will be like, being Mexican isn't about being born in Mexico, like within the boundaries of the country's borders.
Yeah.
It's like a spiritual thing.
Okay.
If you're born in Oregon and your name is Alex Crowson and you love Mexican culture and food and the people and you just like really connect emotionally with Mexico, you're Mexican.
Nice. I hope you should just like see if they'll give you a passport for that.
I should just check that off on my race thing when I fill out forms.
And then you and I are getting married and we're moving to Mexico.
Yes, please. The whole reason I said that was because I think bananas can be like spiritually trees. Like trees, like a state of mind. Like go for it.
I completely agree. And if bamboo can get taller than most every tree on the East Coast, is that not a tree?
It's a tree.
It should be a tree. Anyway, enough debate about it.
Okay.
I also, I think bananas taste pretty good sometimes. So I'm going to open this one. And did you know you should always open banana from the colloquial bottom, which is actually, in fact, the top if you know what you're looking at.
I did that in front of somebody one time, and they were shocked. And I said, this is the way monkeys do it.
Yeah. It's because they're smarter than we are.
If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me.
Exactly.
It's practically made for monkeys.
And you usually avoid all of the weird like long, they're technically like vascular bundles, those weird strings that come down.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like a
sorry,
celery
everyone.
has those, right?
Yeah, but
Stringy.
I think celery, they're just long, stringy bits of cellulose and things. But these are vascular bundles that they grow around the outside of the flesh.
That's disgusting, but...
This is the flesh of a banana.
So Casey's holding his flesh of banana.
Yeah.
And he's going to take a little bite here.
I am. Did you know also
took the whole thing out.
There are three there's three carpels, so you can
Yes.
split into thirds.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I love that about bananas.
Ever remember that? So I'm gonna take a quick bite.
Here goes Casey with his bite. You got the tip there. The tip of Big Mike in his mouth. Casey's laughing. Casey's chewing.
I am. I'm doing all those things.
Uh-huh.
Big Mike's tip is in his mouth.
Like a tennis
He's
narrator.
crushing it up.
What do you think, Case?
I like bananas. I like bananas, but only like a little bit, and then you know what? Then I can do without them.
Sure.
I've lived many years without eating bananas, and I have turned out fine. So I don't know.
I turned out okay.
I turned out okay. So I think I like bananas. I like how weird they are. They're not like the world's most incredible thing to me. Like I like the flavor, but the flavor doesn't make me jump out of my skin. I want to try one of the dozens and dozens of other varieties that are out there in the world.
Got to try that blue banana.
I gotta try that blue banana.
So cool.
I also want to try more plantains in a way that I can like make them into something tasty and like fry them up like you were talking about.
Hell yeah.
So I eat this banana and I think to myself, you're just okay. You are a corporate capitalist juggernaut.
Yeah, you're eating an iPhone right now.
I'm eating an iPhone,
Yeah.
and that is fine with me. But if I think just about the tree itself, I think they are fascinating in that they took what was, a disadvantage to some point, and they said, okay, well, what if we just line all of our leaves up like this and create what the trees call a stem so we can compete with them? And then the banana's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So I think that a banana is worth at least 7.5.
All right.
I think I'm going to go 7.5. Right
Okay.
down the middle. It's fine.
Great.
I like them. I don't think you should plant them and expect to get fruit unless you're in a tropical place.
Sure.
I know a lot of people that does. My good friend Dan, they got a bunch of little bananas that grow back every year.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
Do they eat them?
They don't because they don't produce any of the fruit.
Oh, they don't
Yeah.
produce fruit at all. I
I
thought maybe
will-
the fingerling
I guess they do have
bananas.
the little fingerlings, but I don't know if they've ever tried them.
Okay. I think
That's a good question.
taste kind of bad.
I think they probably do. Either way.
You can find them at new seasons, though.
Yeah,
They're
well,
there all the time.
Yeah, but those are different. Those are a specific different kind of banana.
Oh,
That's
little
a different fruit.
edible
Yes.
commercial banana.
That's probably
small.
more of a plantain than anything.
Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
So anyway, the
7.5?
story. I think
Sorry,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
go. I think I'm gonna go 7.5. Yes, Alex, because I like the story. I think it's an interesting story, but it's also one of those things. I'm like, you start looking into bananas, and you're like, oh, these things run deep.
Yeah. That's an HBO miniseries waiting to happen. That's crazy. All right, Casey, great score.
Yeah. All right. What do you got, Alex? You
I
got
will break open my Nana,
Wow.
so to speak.
Wow. You did it differently than I did.
Now, this one, as you can see, I kind of peeled off the exo layer
Yep.
of the skin.
Yep.
And there's still peel. It's very stringy peel that I have to kind of dig into.
Yeah, that makes it unripe. I think.
I think it is underripe. Yeah.
That's your style.
So I broke off a little piece. The interior, like the cross section, is very glittery and fibrous looking.
Okay. All right. He eats it. He thinks
it's pretty underripe.
it's underripe. Yeah. I tried to get the ripest ones, but I failed.
It's not terrible. It's not like green and slimy. Here's my take on bananas.
What do you got?
Well, I'll talk about it as a tree and then a food.
Oh, okay. You can give separate ratings if you want.
I think I might.
Okay.
The banana tree, the banana herbaceous plant.
Uh-huh.
I love it. So cool.
Really?
So unique looking.
This is your thing.
I've never seen anything like that.
Okay.
That's just wild to me.
All
If you follow us on Instagram, I'll post a picture of what this infructescence looks like.
Yeah.
Crazy looking.
Yeah. They grow upright.
Yeah, so wild. And that big, that lion tail, that teardrop at the end. Yeah, right?
This is just
Casey's
too much.
holding a banana in its proper form,
Yes,
upright.
even though to everyone in the world, this is an inverted banana.
Yeah.
Except for people who know about bananas.
Wild. I think the banana tree, great. I don't have much more to say about it, but I really like it.
Okay.
So I'll give the banana tree a 7.0. Bananas as a food.
Yeah.
I got way more opinions.
Ooh, okay. All right, give us what you got.
Here's the pros.
Okay.
The flavor to me is decent. It's here's the thing with bananas. I don't want it in other stuff. I don't want it in a fruit salad. Fruit. I take fruit salad very seriously. You can't put bananas in a fruit salad. Are you crazy?
Honestly, yeah. Every fruit should be separate.
Completely. Well, I love fruit salad if they all have the kind of the similar texture.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Like you put your. I don't need to go through all the fruits I like, but putting a banana is such a unique texture.
But would you?
On my OnlyFans, bananas are such a unique texture. I don't think they belong with other foods.
Really?
It also is such a unique flavor. I don't like a strawberry banana smoothie. I think the fact that that's popular is an outrage. Those banana runts, don't want them.
Hi, welcome to Jamba Juice. You're the problem in this country. Get him out.
I throw a flaming brick through their window.
Yeah, just with a sign on it that says bananas should be separate. Yeah, man, there's a banana activist out there.
I do believe in banana segregation, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
This is your most conservative value. Bananas should be separate.
Another pro, I think, is that bananas are extremely convenient.
Yes. Yeah.
Grab a banana. It's in its own wrapper.
Yeah.
It's easy and clean to eat. Toss the peel away. You're good to go.
Wow.
Banana peel's also a great comedy device. A classic.
Yes, it really is. It really is. Yeah.
Not a bad thing to pick up in Mario Kart either. They're gonna go skittering around.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's a better thing to drop.
Also, bananas are just so classic visually. Such a great design.
Yeah, I love the idea of putting a banana in something for perspective.
Yes, that's right. I think like branding wise, bananas have got it going on. Very cool fruit. However, the taste is okay. I see them as more utility. You know, I'll eat one in the morning. It's like good fiber. It's got good potassium, I suppose. Got some good nutrients to it. Easy to eat. Easy to digest. Great.
These are all very good points.
If it tasted like a mango, I'd be addicted to the things. All right.
It's true.
So I'll give a banana the food 6.0. I think it's above average.
6.0?
Yeah.
I am kind of blown away by that.
Yeah, I don't love them, Case. They're probably one of my least favorite fruits, if I'm honest.
Really?
And it's a texture thing for me.
I guess it's one of mine too. I mean, obviously I haven't eaten one in years.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure people enjoy bananas. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
But that was our review of the banana. What a fun topic, Casey.
Yeah.
All right, Casey, that was our review of the banana. Let's have our completely arbitrary AMA. If you want to ask a question on the podcast, become a Treemium member at arbitrarypod.supercast.com. And then you can ask an AMA, which means ask me anything. It should be ask us anything because there are two hosts of this show.
That's true, but AUA doesn't make as much sense.
No, AUA. Yeah. This week, Casey, we've got one from Wyndham. Tree superpower is the subject.
Tree superpower.
And Wyndham says, okay, if you were Tree Man and had a special tree ability for a superpower, what tree or tree characteristic would you choose?
Wow.
At first, I was like, that's a silly question. And then I started thinking about, that's a great question.
It's a great one.
Because trees do some amazing things.
Yeah.
And we've talked about many, many, many of them. Could you maybe name like 3 or 2 kind of incredible things that trees have done on this show?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Some grow very intense thorns.
Yes.
And can fight off other things.
Some have an army of ants.
Some have an army of ants that live inside of them. So as soon as something happens, they send that out.
Yep.
Trees, they can communicate with each other by sending out pheromones.
Sure.
Well, it's not technically pheromones, just, chemicals into the air.
They can connect to the fungal network.
They can do that. Some can regrow everything from start to finish.
Yep.
They can live for millions of years. Well, allegedly.
Some can make clones of themselves.
Exactly. Some can make clones of themselves in utero of other plants.
Yes. Some can fuck themselves. And have a baby inside them.
Is that themselves. That's gonna be the thing? You know what? If I had a tree power, it'd be to fuck myself.
I'd probably fuck myself. Why don't you go fuck yourself? Thank you.
Thank you. I will.
So I thought this was just like a fun question because trees do some pretty out there stuff.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a really good one.
I know it's so hard to think of examples like in the moment.
Ooh, I think if it was me, I would probably want to develop some kind of symbiotic relationship with wasps.
Cool.
Many of them do.
Like a fig.
Exactly, like a fig, but also wasps. I mean, we haven't even covered wasps near the way we should.
Okay.
And that's on me. I'm sorry.
White Anglo-Saxon Protestants?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What? Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Okay.
Waspy.
Yeah.
If someone describes somebody as waspy,
No way.
they're a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I've used that term so many times. I had no clue where it came from.
There you go.
Huh. Well, anyway. No, I mean the flying insects
Yes.
related to ants and bees.
Yeah.
Because there are obviously the ones that grow in figs and things like that, but there are also others that grow and will parasitize grubs of beetles underneath bark.
Woof.
They will also parasitize the grubs of other wasps that have parasitized something inside of a plant.
They'll parasitize another animal?
Yes,
Like
all the time.
Wow, gross.
It's like one of their biggest things.
Wasps.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
One man's awesome is another man's spooky.
It's true. That is very accurate. So the wasp, in fact, there are wasps that do this inside of the wasp eggs that are inside of figs.
That's so fucking weird.
So many, dude. They're the most interesting plant. They also will just put their ovipositor into a plant and then create a gall off of that plant. So it happens pretty often.
So your superpower,
Yeah.
to be clear,
Yes.
would be to have wasps lay their eggs inside you and then break out of your skin and do your bidding?
Now, I didn't say that. I said I want to create a symbiosis with wasps.
What does that look like for you?
That is the next question that I haven't quite thought of.
Okay.
But my assumption
They crawl
is...
up your butt and lay their eggs?
Yeah, we have a good time, okay, and then they get out of there.
And then you fart out wasps.
All
when
right,
the time is
everyone.
right.
Wasp man is here. Tree man is here. Get out of the way. Yeah, and
Like
that
bullets out of a machine gun.
exactly. Except they also will sting you and bite you.
Yes, they're living bullets.
Now that sounds awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So I think okay, I don't think I necessarily want to fart them out because I don't want this to be a preteen movie, okay, adaptation. I want this to be high art.
Sure, I remember that part of American Pie.
Yeah, I want this to be like Whale, where it's like a intense drama with a
Wow.
lot of emotions, and then Tree Man saves the world with
Okay.
these wasps that come out of his, I don't know, ethereal consciousness.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, see, high art.
That is
Alex.
good. That is good.
I don't know, but something where it'd be like I'm growing, and everyone comes up to me like, Tree Man, we need your help. Someone's fallen down the well. Then I'd be like, I will do this. Then my leaves just go and release all of their wasps. They go down and they fly the small child out.
They sting the person to death to give them
Yes.
a merciful end.
That's all my wasps will ever do. Yeah, well, the trick is, if I save you, they will then parasitize you also.
Oh, okay. It's like a
So,
vampire turning
exactly.
others into slaves.
Yes, so, well, trees. Turning them into trees.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
symbiosis. Remember, this is a mutual. So I'm getting something from them too. I don't know what that is yet.
Sure.
Next episode.
Okay, great. That's a wild one.
Yeah,
Casey.
that's what I want to do. You know
Okay.
what? And also, I'm willing to workshop what exactly the wasps would do.
Yeah.
But also, if I just have a bunch of
That needs some
buddies,
work.
yeah. So if I'm just like hanging out doing something, and everyone's like, "Wasp man, we need you," then the wasps and I will do something together.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. What about you? You got any? You said you read this and you thought about it. You said.
Yes, and I've chosen my superpower.
Uh-huh.
I would love to be able to clonally reproduce.
Really?
You
So
know,
you'll
like-
just always be alive.
I always be alive. And if you see me in 1,000 years,
Yeah.
it's me technically, but it's like my 30th generation of
Yeah.
of myself.
So let's say you're 80 years old,
Mm-hmm.
you just got hit by a car, you broke all your bones, and everyone's like, we're not sure if he's got much longer.
Yeah.
You're laying in your bed and you just have you cut off a toe.
Yeah.
And then that toe regenerates a whole new Alex.
Yeah, maybe starting from the toe.
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. I also thought it would be more gruesome and kind of my style to like, as I'm alive,
Yeah.
going about my day-to-day life,
Uh-huh.
I don't take off my shoes. And you're like, why do you never take off your shoes?
Yeah.
And I take off my shoe and I show you, and there's like a little guy on my toe.
Oh.
I'm like, this is an little fetus.
It's little Alex.
It's gonna be a full Alex someday, and then once it's fully grown,
Yeah.
or grown enough to like 10 years old or whatever,
yeah.
my original body kind of
Alex
dies
Alpha.
away. Alex Alpha, thank you, version 1, kind of dies away,
Yeah.
and it's pretty disgusting and gruesome. Like they slowly kind of wither away.
See,
right?
I imagine
and dry up.
As a tree, you would just get a fungal disease that slowly eats you out.
Oh, that'd be great.
You're kaput.
Yeah, and then version 2, one day we'll just have to take a pair of shears and snip off the connection point.
Yeah.
The umbilical cord at the end of their toe.
The root.
Yes, and they will go on living their lives.
Okay, then it'll grow to be a little bit bigger and become an actual like normal size Alex. Would that Alex Beta, have some of your memories and like your everything, or would it be like this kind of inert, just kind of thing?
I think it would be like a sort of a reincarnation sort of thing, where it's like it remembers some things.
Yes,
you know.
Yes, they called me Alex.
Alex the Gray. Where it remembers some things about me, but it has its own personality.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
But it still has some like
different
core sort of links, some
Alexisms.
values.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna give birth to like a Voldemort-esque character.
Yeah,
but
just one character that completely despises you.
I think it would be a bit like having natural-born children.
Yeah. Now let me get back to the question here.
Okay.
This is you are Tree Man.
Oh,
what
right.
would your superpower be? So your superpower would be clonally reproducing yourself. How would that help humanity?
Here's how. I can let it happen naturally, and it happens pretty slow.
Yeah.
Like almost real time.
Yeah.
Like person growing up, you know?
Sure.
But if I like squeeze really hard, I can like push it out faster.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
And if something's in trouble, somebody's in trouble, we need 3 people to help me lift this car. Oh, there's only one guy here. Wait, it's Tree Man. I go, and suddenly, like, several of me grow out.
Yeah, okay.
And we lift the car and save the pregnant mother.
But then now you have multiple yous around. Let's say there's 3 more.
Yeah, I have to kill them.
Oh, okay, so now we're getting like that movie with the oh God, what is that movie?
The Island?
No, it was The Prestige.
Oh, I don't, yeah.
He cloned himself. He's a magician, and he clones himself.
Whoa.
And then, but the clone realizes he's like, oh my God, I'm real. And then they're like, no, save me. And then they drown the clone in this, like, you know, the thing. Sorry, it's a spoiler if you guys have not seen The Prestige yet.
How'd he do that? Here's another part of it is that if I let the process happen naturally, then the person who grows out of me is like a fully formed, like has a great brain, you know, and like its organs all work. But if I push and do it kind of like sped up, those versions of me might have like some strength and ability, but they're like kind of not all there. You know, like they aren't fully developed in the way that a human needs to develop.
Okay. See, so
they don't even know. They don't have like a consciousness or whatever. I just kind of like communicate with them and make them do things.
Okay, yeah, they are your extensions of you.
Yeah,
but through consciousness. I like
this.
There you
go.
And any crisis that happens, there are multiple Tree Alexes out there for you.
That's right. Yeah.
I love this.
But then it's like, should the government gets involved and the UN is like, should we regulate this guy? He's like, he's got 100 billion of himself out there.
They would just start putting tariffs on you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you'd be screwed.
Have to pay child support for 800,000 of Alexes.
Yeah, you just started sleeping with other trees and didn't take care of all the seedlings.
Yeah. Rough life. All right. Well, thank you so much, Wyndham, for your question. If you've got a question, like I said, become a Treemium member, arbitrarypod.supercast.com. We'd be happy to have you. And you also can be in the Cone of the Month Club, the Cone Club, where we send you botanical stickers every month, illustrated by a different artist. How fun! Casey Clapp.
Alex Crowson.
Great discussion, my friend.
Let's eat these bananas.
All right. You first.
Oh, here's mine.
We'll do it in 3, 2, 1. All right, thanks everybody for listening to Completely Arbitrary's Tropical Vacation. We'll see you next time. We're going to make like bananas and split.
Gross. Completely Arbitrary is hosted by Casey Clapp and Alex Crowson.
Our music is by Aves and the Mini Vandals, and our artwork is by Jillian Barthold.
To support the podcast and get rewards in return, become a Treemium member at arbitrarypod.supercast.com.
Thanks for listening.